So during my internship at the South Foundation, I looked at what textbook content does to students reading it, rather than just looking at what the textbook content says. This rather novel approach to textbook revision is because I believe education has a purpose, and in order to evaluate textbooks, it's important to evaluate their ability to contribute to this purpose of education. However, at the moment, at least regarding history teaching, there doesn't seem to be a universal purpose of history teaching. We do not really have a reason why we are teaching history. What do we want to achieve when we teach history to children? So in order to ground my research on an actual purpose of history teaching, I suggested using the target 4.7 of the Sustainable Development Goal and the aspects that fall under the scope of history teaching, namely the appreciation of cultural diversity and global citizenship. So based on this purpose of history teaching, I developed my research question, which looks at the impact of the Belgian history textbook content on Belgium's colonial past in Congo on students' intercultural sensitivity. In order to produce empirical data, I conducted an experiment in a Belgian high school where among 60 students, the 60 students were divided into two groups, a control group and a treatment group. The treatment group was asked to read the textbook content on Belgium's colonial past in Congo, and then answer a 12-question survey using a 5-point Likert scale. The control group was also asked to answer the same survey, but was not asked to read the textbook content and was given a placebo text instead. Once the 60 surveys were filled out, I entered them into SPSS and I ran independent sample t-tests in order to compare the means between the control group and the treatment groups. The results showed that 3 of the 12 questions were statistically significant. The first statistically significant statement was a statement saying, "I enjoy interacting with people from different cultures." For this statement, it appears that reading the textbook content has a positive impact on students' intercultural sensitivity, as students who read the textbook content tend to agree more with the idea that they enjoy interacting with people from different cultures. It's also the only statement where 60% of the students who read the textbook content answer with completely agree, which might suggest that reading the textbook content made them more confident towards the idea that it is nice to interact with people from different cultures. The second statement that was statistically significant is a statement saying that we need to protect our culture from the influence of other cultures. Based on this statement, it appears that reading the textbook content has a negative impact on students' intercultural sensitivity, because students who read the textbook content tend to agree more with the idea that we have to protect our culture from the influence of other cultures. This is at odds with the idea of global citizenship and appreciation of cultural diversity, because it suggests that students who read the textbook content do not see the value in mutual cultural influences. The last statement that was statistically significant is the statement that stated, "Belgium is the home of Walloons, Flemish, and Bruxellois of origin." Based on this statement, it also appears that reading the textbook content has a negative impact on students' intercultural sensitivity, because the students who read the textbook content agree more with the idea that Belgium is the home of Walloons, Flemish, and Bruxellois. This suggests that students who read the textbook content have a more nationalistic perspective when interacting with foreigners living in Belgium. These 3 statistically significant results provide support to the idea that textbook content has an impact on students' intercultural sensitivity, and suggest that this impact is positive for the first statement and negative for the 2 others. In order to understand these statistically significant results, it's interesting to look at it from a citizen-peer conflict perspective that suggests that students answer different statements using different roles. So they answered one as a citizen and another as a peer. This is in line with empirical findings that individuals apply different preference maps depending on the context. So for example, for the first statistically significant result that had a positive impact after reading the textbook content, it refers to I enjoy, which might lead students to answer this statement from a personal perspective. However, the two other statements refer more to a citizen responsibility. We need to protect our culture from the influence of other cultures. Belgium is the home of. Those two statements call upon a more nationalistic role, which might have influence, which might suggest that reading the textbook content actually increases nationalism among students. This is at odds with the overarching purpose of history education that I started my research with, which emphasizes the importance of cultural appreciation and global citizenship. Aside from the significant results, the research itself, because it produced significant results, support the relevance of such approach and hints at the need to conduct more research in the area of what textbook content does to the students. It also calls for a greater reflection on the purpose of history teaching, because it is only with a clear purpose in mind that we will be able to clearly and effectively assess the ability of textbooks.